Good. See, let's see. I didn't brush my hair. I got dressed up for this thing. I'm looking fancy, you know.
Don't feel bad. I didn't either. I didn't brush my hair at all. It's been a few years, in fact. So we are live with the Power Platform August 25, 2025 community call. Woo, it is already August 20th. How is this year flying by so fast? Well, it's because we're having fun. That's what happens when you're working in technology you love, right, Shane?
I couldn't agree more. It is crazy. It's the end of August, but yeah, I'm with you, right? Like it feels like just yesterday we kicked off the year, but there's been so much to do and learn. There's so much new to learn every day. Like, it keeps us busy.
That's right. Summer's heading out, but guess what? We're falling for new technology. See what I did there? Falling for. Okay.
I
you can't even
such things.
Can't. Let's talk about what's on the agenda for today, everybody. We're going to talk about community resources, some samples, some news and events. Of course, we're going to have our picture time that everybody loves. So get those fantastic faces ready. And then we're going to have 3 amazing presentations by 4 amazing presenters of the day. Bhushan and Shrushti are here. They're going to talk about how to build an auto triage AI agent with Copilot Studio. Brian is back. He's going to talk about enhancing Power Platform solutions with Pro Code. And Vipul is going to round it out for us on automate folder and subfolder creation in SharePoint using multi-list data with Power Automate. So we are spanning the spectrum of technology today. I absolutely love it and can't wait to see all these amazing demos. But first, let's talk about the resources that are available to each and every one of us out there. We're going to start with our Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. This is our Community Learning YouTube channel where we are breaking all the rules in all the right ways. YouTube keeps telling us, hey, maybe if you post less, your numbers might be better. We say, heck no, we want to post more because we want to showcase all the amazing work that everyone within Microsoft and the community is doing. So you want to definitely go there, like and subscribe, comment, let everybody know how much you're enjoying and what you think of the videos because there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. There's also our LinkedIn page group for discussions that you can be part of. We've got our open source tooling, of course, our sample galleries. Many of those samples we'll talk about today. And of course, you do need to remember every single one of these. No, I'm just kidding. Just one URL will give you access. There's 2, but you only need to remember one, ak.ms/community/home, or our fancy top level wowee domain, community.ms will give you access to all these things. Super, super cool. And as you're watching, you may think, hey, everybody's showing off some cool stuff. I feel like I've got some cool stuff to show off. Well, we want you to show it off. So don't overthink it. Don't feel like you've got to show how time travel is possible with a flux capacitor. If you've got a demo or a sample or you're passionate about a feature, share it with the community. And even if you've already heard someone else talk about it, right, Shane? Someone else could likely have already talked about it. It's okay to talk about it again, right?
Yes, I mean, insane people like me, right? There's 550 videos. Whatever you want to talk about, I've done it before. But that's okay, right? Like you will say it better than me. You will say it different than me. It is okay to do new stuff. And like, I can't, so last week I was at the Atlanta TechCon conference presenting in person. Believe it or not, we still do things in person. And being there, like all the presenters, most of the presenters were still those of us that have been doing it for a really long time. We need new fresh young people. Like we need new faces out there. I'm tired of hugging all the same people. So please sign up to present, share. We want you. We need you for the community to continue to grow and be awesome.
Awesome. There you go. So you're going to get showcased on a community call. You get to share with the community and you get a hug from Shane. What could be better, right? All right. Let's talk about some samples and badges. Kate, update us on all the amazing work the community's been doing.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. And today, over the past month, we have 6 marvelous, wonderful samples from April, from Nati, from Steve, and from myself. Thank you very much, everybody, for contributing and supporting us. And look at those fantastic numbers. So we have 70 samples, 50 snippets, and 120 prompts. And as well, I would like to thank Daniel Laskovich, who supported me and merged my sample, and day-to-day support me as well. So thank you very much to everybody. And if you would like to contribute more, or if you would like to contribute first time, and if you do not know where to start, just ping me and I will get you covered. And together we are going to prepare your submission ready code and follow all best practices, whatever we need, and highlight your marvelous sample or snippet or prompt on our community call. Thank you very much, and back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you. Great job on maintaining all these as well. Really appreciate you're doing amazing work. So, and thank you to everyone in the community. Now, if you are thinking, well, I have created some snippets or some samples or some prompts and I'd like to share it, but I'm not quite sure how. Well, we're getting our sharing is caring date set up. It's been the summer. We're giving everybody that opportunity to kind of recharge their batteries. So now that we're falling into fall, we are going to be setting up those sessions. We're going to try and get a couple per month, actually, at different times of the day to be caring for all of our global community attendees so that the time will be working for you. And what is sharing is caring? It provides hands-on guidance. These sessions are live, they're hands-on. We're going to walk you through how to contribute via GitHub. We're going to demystify terms like pull request and fork and raw and what do all those branch terms mean. We will work on it together, and it's a safe space, which means that we don't record it, so you can ask any and all questions that you would like to ask without fear of it going on record, because sometimes that prevents us from asking questions, and that's exactly where we want you to ask questions. So we don't want you to be fearful, we want you to be empowered. So definitely check out that, and we will let everyone know when those dates get scheduled. And then, of course, once you do contribute, we have our, by the way, award-winning best-in-class community recognition program, awarded by Credly because of all the amazing work that you all are doing. So thank you so much. These badges are real, they are credited, they are fun, but they are showing that you make a difference. And of course, we're in the middle of superhero season, so you can get the Porcupine Rises. We've got 4 other badges that are part of superhero season. Of course, we've got just around the just around the corner, Oktoberfest. We've got our season of getting coming up, our slice of samples, and we've got lots of other things in store, one of which you'll find out about here soon in just a few slides. So stay tuned for that. But we do need you to opt in. It is absolutely free, ak.ms/community/recognition, and you will be able to earn those badges. We will track the amazing work that you're doing in the community and award you with those badges. And again, we'll share the blog post out as well, again, around the amazing work that you've been doing and how Credly recognized us as a best-in-class program, which is amazing and really due to all of you. So thank you. And on that note, here are our July 2025 contributors. We started this back up. We wanted to recognize everybody. And again, it's awesome because this is spanning 2 slides. So take a screenshot. I'm all over the place with words today. Take a screen snippet of it or a screenshot of it. Share it with your managers and your clients. Share them on social media. Let them know that you are being recognized for making a difference in the community. And again, you can find this on the recording as well as the screenshot summary on my side if you'd like to grab a screenshot if you're not able to here on the call. But thank you. You all are doing amazing work, and we could not be more proud and grateful for all the work that you're doing. Okay, let's get into some events and conferences. We've got TechCon coming up here in November for Dallas. So Seattle and Atlanta are check in the books. So definitely check that out if you're going to be in and around that area. Of course, we've got our Power Platform Conference coming up in October in Las Vegas that everyone's going to be excited about. I know Shane will be there. I'll be there. April will be there. I believe Daniel will be there. So many amazing people. So if you want those hugs that Shane is promising, then go get a ticket and sign up. It's going to be an amazing time for everybody to learn as well as collaborate. So it's a wonderful opportunity. That's not all, though. Of course, we've got Ignite coming up in November, so be on the lookout for the details of that coming out soon. We've got ESPC coming up in December, so that's a great opportunity for collaboration. We're seeing all these technologies working together now. And of course, 2026 ECS has already been announced in Cologne, Germany. So excited for that one too. I was able to be there last year. Would love to try to be there again next year. It is a wonderful event. All these events are amazing. So check them out when you can. But that's not all. These are big events. They are wonderful to attend, but so is our smaller community events. And we've got so many of those that are spanning right now between August and September. So go check out communitydays.org. Some of these are live, some of them are in online, some of them are hybrid. So we absolutely want you to support our community by attending these or finding ways to support them in any way you can. Maybe that's just sharing a friend who is presenting and showing off what they're going to be presenting on. So don't hesitate to let others know that you are supporting these. It is a lot of hard work that goes into that, so we definitely want to support those. All right, let's get into some news, and we're going to start with notes from the field from Mr. Shane Young.
Who doesn't enjoy hearing from me, right? This is just my time to talk when David's not allowed to interrupt me. So everybody take a breath. I'll talk slower than he is. Yay. No. All right, so a few things to be watching out for, right? If you haven't seen it, Dataverse prompt columns just rolled out. So this is the idea, like if you think about like a SharePoint calculated column, but now instead of having it, be calculated with a formula, we can have the columns be calculated with a large language model with a prompt that we've added. Super cool implementation. One of the things the Power Platform team's done a really good job of is they kind of built that interface for building AI prompts. And now they use that same interface in about 10 different places. And I think that consistency just helps us always feel like, oh, that's good, right? But it's another easy way to add AI into what you're building today without being all in on AI, right? Just be like, hey, it would be nice if this thing auto summarized these notes, or it, calculated this for me, or built this out, right? It's a nice way to kind of get your hands on some AI stuff. Generative pages. Now I've got David's problem. I can't talk. Generative pages, those are starting to show up more and more, right? That's over in model-driven apps, but that's where we do the, I wish you could see my big giant air quotes, vibe code a Power Apps page inside of a model-driven app. These are interesting for several reasons. One is like literally in 20 to 30 minutes with just words, I can build some really cool stuff that I literally can't build in a Canvas app today just by doing this. So like drag and drop is always the first one we all do. Right? Oh, okay, I can do drag and drop now. Yay. But that's not really the main point. The main point is generative pages are generating React code, which is a different code language, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I don't care. But it's writing in a new language. It's interesting. Right? Generative pages is something I just kind of keep looking at going, all right, I feel like that's the writing on the wall that they're going to, things are going to change, things are going to evolve. I mean, things are changing and evolving, but I think generative pages is something that you should go play with today if you haven't already, and just ask yourself like, where are these things going? Also then on Copilot Studio, agents calling agents. I did a video on that this week and it flopped, which is my way of whining. But it sounds like something like no one should care about. But I can tell you as a guy who's written a bunch of complex Copilot Studio agents already, that agents calling agents, so it's really just agents and child agents or sub agents, that is going to let us write more complex solutions easier, right? So agents calling agents sounds like overkill or a bunch of complexity. It's actually the easy button to build harder agents. So go check those out if you're doing anything at all with Copilot Studio. I'm currently working on rewriting some of my, one agent I spent a month writing. Then the complexity was all because all the instructions said the same thing, but slightly different. So it kind of got confused a lot. Agents calling, turning that one agent into 6 child agents is going to make such a better solution. So last thing, and I'll quit talking, find the good in AI. I keep talking to people that are like, AI stinks, we can't do this or that. Like they keep focusing on the things AI can't do. And that stuff's going to get fixed and it's going to get better. When you're looking at AI, no matter what, whether it's Copilot or other AI tools, it doesn't matter, right? Don't try to think about the things it can't do. Try to think about the things it can do. The things it can't do, it's going to fix. It's going to get there. So, this is one of my new talking points in life, right? Find the good in AI. There you go. That is my 2 cents notes from the field. Buddy's rolling his eyes at me. Hopefully you guys aren't as well.
Awesome, Shane. Excellent. Really good stuff. And yeah, there is a lot of good to find. There's some frustrations. Yeah, let's be honest and realistic. But I love the positivity there because there is a lot of beneficial use cases for that. And let others know via sharing your prompts. Awesome. Let's move into the news and learn with April Dunham.
Yeah, we got a lot of news. So if you're sensing a theme and AI, there's a vibe coding and all that. There's lots of news related to that. First, GPT-5, that's the newest, latest and greatest model from OpenAI, was released. And now that is available for us all in Copilot Studio, but also inside of generative pages as well in Microsoft 365 Copilot. So if you haven't tried it out, make sure to go try out the new model, see what kind of performance impacts you have and like what kind of new capabilities you can light up with that. The other big thing is generate document output for a prompt. So if you use AI prompts, the output that we traditionally have is we can output the prompt to text or JSON. Now it can actually generate a Word document for you. So there's a documentation out there that you can go search for that'll take you right to that where you can see how to set that up. You just have to set up a template and then it will output your prompt values and fill out a Word document for you, which is really cool. Other thing, non-AI related for once, is custom monitor alerts. So this is really cool. So say you want to be able to get proactive alerts. This is part of the Power Platform Admin Center now. And maybe anytime an app takes longer than 10 seconds to load, you want to be proactively alerted. That's something that you can set up now with these custom monitor alerts across the board in your environment to keep track of things that are going on. And then finally, speaking of vibe coding, we have build and deploy single page web apps and Power Pages. So if you've used GitHub Spark, I've been testing this out. It's really cool. You just put in a prompt. It generates a full application for you based on your prompt. Well, now we can have the output of that, the deployed spot to that, be Power Pages. So you can build something, vibe code it in GitHub Spark, and deploy that out to Power Pages so you have all the benefits of that. So lots of exciting news. Make sure to go check it out. And we have one more big piece of news, speaking of exciting news, that we want to share.
Oh, the trumpets alert. I can't wait. What is it?
Introducing Copilot Studio Agent Academy. So this is brand new self-paced hands-on curriculum that the Power Platform advocacy team has been working really hard on behind the scenes to release. So if you go to aka.ms/agent-academy, that'll take you there. This is going to be 3 stages. So today we're announcing and launching the recruit path. This is kind of our beginner get started path. Then we're going to have operative and commander, our intermediate and advanced paths, coming soon throughout the year. So keep on this. We'll be updating it and we'll update you all on the call as we add more as well. But this is going to be really great if you're just wanting to get hands-on and see a real-world use case of how to get started building your first agent. And later on, we'll talk about some of the multi-agent stuff, the agent-to-agent that Shane was talking about earlier. So lots of good stuff to come. And the best part is you're going to get a badge for the first 100 people that go through this curriculum. Upload a screenshot showing that you have your completed solution, submit an issue in our repo there, and you'll get this awesome badge designed by David Warner here for our recruit badge with our lovely Trash Panda bit there for your Agent Academy. So definitely go there, check it out, give us feedback, let us know what you think, and get your badge.
Awesome stuff. And April's being way too humble. She did most of all the work on that badge. We worked together, but I am very excited. These are really cool. Love the creativity we have, and excited for all of you to earn it. So thank you, April, for sharing that with us. Super excited for all phases of this Agent Academy. It's going to be awesome. All right, everybody, what time is it? It is picture time, and we're running just a little behind on schedule. So let's get those cameras turned on, and I will move this over here and move this over here. And while some of us will start showing. So, I'm all alone. Come on, everybody, join me. Let's get, what is that thing called? Camtasia.
I didn't shave. Darn it, I meant to. Should I?
Oh, no.
Can I do the?
Yeah, you can have that on. All right, getting those cameras. There's Daniel. Love it. Kate, love seeing all my friends are here. Excellent. Jamie's up there. There's April. Awesome. All right, let's give it just another second. Again, we are running just a little behind on schedule, so we'll get this captured pretty quickly here. And awesome. There is Scott. There's a great Scott coming in. All right, let's give it just one more second. We will capture it, and let's give it the countdown. 3, 2, 1, get those jazz hands ready. Wave to the community, everybody. Great to see you all again. Thank you all. Love the face on Daniel. Smiles all around. Great to see you all again. Thank you for all you're doing each and every single week in the community. Every single day, in fact, would not be possible to have these amazing events and opportunities without the hard work that you're doing. So thank you so much. All right, well, let's get the show back on the road, and we are going to begin with our first of 3 amazing presentations. Bhushan and Shrushti are here. They're going to talk about how to build an auto triage AI agent with Copilot Studio. My friends, feel free to take on over the screen. The floor is yours.
Amazing. Thank you, David. Let me know if my screen is visible now.
Yep, got it. Take it away.
Amazing. So, hello, everyone. Good evening, morning to all of you. Thanks for joining in. I'm just loving the energy here. I'm Bhushan Gawale, joining from Pune, India. And this is the first time for me here in the community call. So very excited to meet all of you and be part of this amazing community. I work with RapidCircle as a solution specialist and lead the data and AI capability for India. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in the AI platform category. Today, I am also joined by my amazing colleague, Shrushti. So I'll quickly hand it over to Shrushti to introduce herself, and then I'll take it back again.
Thank you so much, Bhushan. I already like the vibe of the community. It's going amazing. So quickly introducing myself, I am Shrushti. I've been working with Rapid Circle as senior consultant. Going ahead, been in MVP for 3 years. This year been renewed in M365 Copilot. So a lot of amazing work coming in Copilot and Copilot Studio. Can't wait to try my hands on that. But yeah, over to you back, Bhushan.
Awesome. Thank you, Shrushti. So moving on with the solution that we have tried to build. But let's first understand the problem context here. So just to make you guys aware, so when basically an organization builds a product or a service and then decides to productionize that, the job is only half done, as they usually say, because orgs usually want to engage with their users and customers to gather the feedback, insights, know about issues, etc., to make their products or services better. So the typical way to do that is by exposing maybe a shared email box where customers can relay their feedback, report different issues, and someone essentially ends up monitoring that email box, goes through those emails, tries to understand the issue, analyzes, categorizes it as known as triage, and then ensures that the issue is logged into some ITSM tool internally, and then end users are acknowledged as well. Typically, this works fine, but then this is still a manual approach, cannot scale really well. So you can just imagine this, hundreds of emails dropping into inbox every single day, and each of the email, the support executive, so the support staff has to handle all of them manually. Now, this is not only time consuming, but also a bit risky. Basically, in short, you are at the mercy of whoever is looking and analyzing those critical and important feedback that your end users are trying to report to you. That defines the shape of your product and the roadmap as well. Because this is all manual, this leads to slower resolutions. Your end users are waiting, frustrated to hear the feedback, or hear more about the issues that they have reported, know about the status and the progress, etc. So the support teams also end up essentially getting burned out because of this process. So that's the pain area that we are trying to solve here with this solution. So moving on with the next slide. So let's take a look at the agentic solution at high level. For those who are new to AI or agent ecosystem, in simple terms, think of your agents as your new hires or peers. On their first day, you would usually need to instruct them. That is to make them aware of their duties, as known as instructions, and then make them aware of all the knowledge repositories. We can call this activity as onboarding them, right? And then equipping them with the tools through which they can take actions independently, operate independently, as known as tools. So stitching these concepts back in the context of this solution, think of this autonomous agent as your autonomous coworker that handles the triage process end to end. So instead of humans or team of humans spending hours on repetitive work, the AI agent can do it for us. So it seamlessly integrates with platforms that you already use, Azure DevOps for this instance, for issue tracking in this case, Outlook for email monitoring. And of course, this can be extended easily to other LOB systems. By the way, this isn't just about bugs or issues. The same approach or principle can be applied for feature requests, incident management, and many other use cases in typical product ALM. So what's the biggest impact here? As you can guess already, it removes that repetitive manual work for us. This also ensures the accuracy and consistency and scales extremely effortlessly. In short, auto triage AI enables us or teams to focus on solving the problems instead of spending their energy and time in managing those different tickets that they receive. All right, so with that context, I'll move on to the next slide. So let's see how this actually works. So what you see here on the screen is it starts with a product or a service user raising that issue over an email. So instead of support agent manually reading and logging the details, the first AI agent that you see at the top here is responsible for monitoring or listening to that email box. It automatically also extracts all the relevant information from the email body. So it could be things like users are reporting some steps through which the issue can be reproduced, system details, any metadata of the issue or description of the issue. It then creates the structured bug or issue in Azure DevOps by leveraging the knowledge that it has. So if you remember the knowledge part, so the knowledge could be elaborative product guides that the agent is aware of. It could be common troubleshooting steps documentation. It could be standard operating procedure guidelines that you can feed in. It could be product or service specification or installation guides, etc., that it can take a look at and refer to before it decides to do the actual triage, define the severity, priority of the issue before it actually creates an item in the DevOps for you. Once this is done, then it sends a templated acknowledgement email back to the user with some interaction or the reference ID. And this is the triage stage 1 that is completed. And again, that is completely automated. Now let's take a look at what happens when you have this user who is typically going to reply or ask for follow-up information if users wants to send any additional details to the previous issue that they have reported. They can still do that. They can still respond to that email, right? Which the first agent has sent out. So traditionally, this would require, again, someone to go back, find that issue in the DevOps that they might have logged, find the details, update it, and again respond to the user who reported that. So if you look at the second agent here, so this is where it steps in. It picks up the tracking ID from the subject line, fetches the corresponding issue from DevOps, updates it with new information if it needs to, and then it decides to send out the confirmation email as well. It can also include the current issue status in the reply. So in short, these two specialized AI agents work together very well. So for initial triage and one for follow-up. And as you can already guess, together they are eliminating the repetitive manual steps, ensuring accuracy, providing seamless experience for both support teams as well as to the users. Now with that, I think let me hand it over to Shrushti, who can walk us all through the parts, what everyone is looking forward to see it all in action. So Shrushti, take it away. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Let me just quickly share my screen, and considering the time, I'll keep it as crisp and short as possible. So let me know once you can see the screen, and let me also zoom in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, screen's visible. Looks great. Thank you, Shrushti.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So as already elaborated by Bhushan, I'm not going to reiterate on that again. We have built two agents, and these two agents are fully autonomous in nature. There is currently no human in the loop, given there is no decision power, or nothing is done by agent as of now. We are just utilizing agents at their best, wherein we are creating issue, we are assigning it, we are trying to fetch almost everything as possible just from that email or from the user feedback. So consider that same scenario. What I have done is there is an email. We are working as part of Power Automate product team, just to give an example. And Power Automate product team has received an email, something like this, saying that, hey, my Power Automate keeps failing with some issue, and this is the timeout. All these details have been received. Now the first agent, as we elaborated, two agents. First is the triage one, which goes ahead, listens out to the email, fetches all the information, assigns the priority severity based on the email body, and creates a ticket or creates a bug or issue or a feature based on the nature of the email. in the DevOps board, and also send the acknowledgement email to that user saying that, hey, we have received your feedback or your issue and our support team is working on it. So this is the simple nature of the first agent. So if you can see the agent and just look at the beauty of instructions. So here in the agent, we mentioned it is autonomous in nature. So no code was involved, but everything, whatever instructions we have noted down, that works as part of the code and validations. So these are the detailed instructions along with the instructions and the tools, which is like DevOps connector, and then using AI prompt to go through that email, fetch the details in JSON format, and then sending out the email as an acknowledgement. Everything is done by agent. So let me just quickly trigger this, and in the meantime, while this runs, the same email it will run on. So let me just quickly give me a minute. Okay. Yes, let me just check the timestamp so that I don't miss out. Perfect. It will run, and once it is done running, probably it will take a few seconds. Yeah, it's already there. You just zoom out. So if you can see, it's already working, and what it does is it goes to the AI prompt, and then it tries to fetch all the details as mentioned. It tries to craft an email body as well, and then it tries to create a work item. So I'll quickly go to my DevOps board. I'll go back. And it created a new work item. Right now, this is my test workspace. So just ignore all the similar repetitive issues logged here. It automatically created a work item here with its reason, with priority, everything. And I also received an email saying that with the templated email along this works same, whatever instructions we have provided, it works along that line, and it responded with a templated email saying that, okay, this is your tracking ID. If you want to track it further, this is the issue which we have logged or the feature request, and keep patience. We'll work on it soon and we'll get back to you. Now, coming back to the other agent, wherein I'm very enthusiastic and I want to, probably I'm facing some issues at my org and I want that issue to be solved, or I want that product team to give me some feedback or some status on, okay, what is exactly going on. So I drop an email again to the team. So this is how that email looks like. Wait. It should be there somewhere. Okay, so you can consider I've sent out an email saying that, hey, I need some more details, and that particular email might have some repro steps or some further investigation which I've done. And that email, that other agent comes into the picture. This is that other agent. Again, it works in the similar fashion, autonomous in nature, looks into the email. And then if you see the instructions, it's almost same, but the instructions are pretty different because here we are performing some different set of tasks. What here we are doing is how to track that particular ticket. So for that, we always look out for the tracking ID. And as mentioned by Bhushan, that the person who already have we have sent out the acknowledgement, they also see that the tracking ID, wherein they can send out the, again, email with the same tracking ID, and that is how we fetch the details of the status, who is assigned to what is going on their ticket which was raised. So again, similar set of instructions in detail. And the tools are again somewhat similar, but here what we are doing is we are trying to update the details if the user has shared some more repro steps or whatever they have performed to replicate the issue which they are facing. So we update that as well in the work item. We fetch that work item by going through the task ID. So again, using AI prompt to fetch the work item ID or task item ID, and then go into the DevOps and then fetch the details, update them, and then reply and send out an email on the status. So this is what is done by the autonomous agent number 2, which is just a follow-up agent. And quickly, if I have to test that again, so let me just quickly test. It runs in the similar fashion, and I'll quickly come to another important point. Just a second, let me just run this. Okay, it was 40. I'm relying on God that I picked up the right email. Perfect. So what I'm missing here is one thing. Whenever we work as part of product team, we also have a huge documentation. So my bad, I picked up the wrong one. I won't waste time there. But let me quickly fetch the latest run. So we also look out for the documentation. We have detailed documentation for any product or feature which we are working on. So if by any chance our agent wants to answer some responses or some resolution steps, even in the email along with the acknowledgement, we can do that as well via the documentation. So we have detailed documentation added as knowledge, and that works like charm. You can provide me instruction saying that based on the issue which was raised, do you see any resolution steps from the documentation, and also use that resolution steps and provide it in the email, and that also works. And you can also add a resolution in your work item saying that this resolution was sent to the user, and they might respond back that it worked, or maybe they are still facing the issue. That works as well. So we are using documentation also as knowledge, and this is the second agent which updates the item, which sends an email, replies, and then looks into the task ID and also so this is the work pattern at which works, and this is fully autonomous in nature as mentioned. But this is how we have built the auto AI triage agent, and this can also be worked. We can also have implemented with agent to agent, multi-agent orchestration, which is just recently released. But this work we did some months back, wherein there was no way to call another agent from an agent. But yeah, I mean, these are the two standalone agents which are currently working parallelly and only working autonomously, looking into the email inboxes and working seamlessly with DevOps. The ITSM system can be anything like your ServiceNow or Jira or whatever you have in place in your organization, and you can fit this exactly piece of work wherever you want. So this is what we worked on, and I hope this is useful for a few of you, and maybe you can take this up, take the inspiration, and build something else on top of it. But to close on, we have observed some really good benefits from the same. But won't dive into it much. But as mentioned, that it reduces the effort of support team as well, and also it reduces the layer wherein AI is doing a part for the human, the TDS manual task, wherein creating the items, assigning the priority, which it can do very easily. So that's it from me. Anything you want to add, Bhushan, before we hand over to David?
No, I think thank you for that, Shrushti. I think this is all we wanted to demonstrate. So over to you again, David.
Thank you so much once again.
Excellent job by both of you. Thank you. And thank you being conscious of time. I know I ran us a little over, so I appreciate you trying to get through that and get us back on track. Thank you. You both rock it. Bhushan, thank you for your first presentation to the call. Excellent job. We welcome you back anytime soon. So please, and we love other first timers, everybody. So bring them on back. All right, next up is going to be Brian Archer. He's going to talk about enhancing Power Platform solutions with Pro Code. Brian, if you'd like to take on over the screen, and it is all yours.
Hello, hopefully everyone can see my screen now. Thanks for the introduction, David. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about enhancing Power Platform solutions with Pro Code, and I'm going to go over some scenarios where you may want to introduce a bit of Pro Code into your Power Platform solutions. Now, before I get into that, just a little bit about myself. So, it's Brian Archer. I'm currently working as a DevOps engineer, working across Power Platform and Azure. My background is as an infrastructure engineer. So before I stumbled across Power Platform, I was looking after all things infrastructure in terms of servers and networking equipment, that sort of thing. In terms of my work in Power Platform, I've worked across Canvas apps, model-driven apps, Power Automate, and a bit of Power Platform governance in there as well. So before we go on to why you might want to introduce some Pro Code into your Power Platform solution, I wanted to cover a bit about what we mean when we say Pro Code. So typically when referring to Pro Code, we're thinking about traditional coding languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and C#. These are often referred to as Pro Code languages. Now, HTML typically used to build your site structure. CSS is used to style the website, and JavaScript is used to add interactivity. Now, Power Platform is commonly thought of as a low-code or no-code platform. However, it does offer a variety of ways to extend into the Pro Code world. Now, why might you want to bring some Pro Code into your Power Platform solution? If you're not a traditional software developer, why would you want to kind of go the extra step to bring in some Pro Code? Now, it does offer some benefits in terms of what you can get with out-of-the-box Power Platform components. So with Pro Code, bringing in things like custom HTML and CSS, you can create enhanced user interfaces and enhanced user experience. You can customize your branding and kind of achieve greater design consistency. With JavaScript, you can implement enhanced interactivity within your model-driven apps, and it also offers improved client-side logic performance over things like out-of-the-box business rules. And again, going into the pro-code world offers the ability to leverage third-party data sources using a whole variety of APIs out there that you can bring in through things like custom connectors. Another thing that Power Platform offers is the ability to integrate with Microsoft Azure resources. So not only can you bring in some pro-code elements, you can extend your Power Platform solutions into the world of Azure using things like function apps, logic apps, storing your Power Platform assets and things like storage accounts. And also, you might want to bring in some pro-code to enhance your own skills as a Power Platform professional and make yourself more desirable in the job market. Typically now, companies that are recruiting for Power Platform specialists, yes, they want people that know their Canvas apps, their model-driven apps, their Power Pages and their Copilot, but also they're also looking for people that have a bit of knowledge and experience of pro-code as well. So I'm going to talk a bit about the ways in which we can enhance our Power Platform solutions using pro-code. So let's start with Canvas apps. So Canvas apps offer a couple of different ways where we can bring in some pro-code. So you can create custom UI using HTML and CSS. You can create some user interface effects that just aren't achievable with out-the-box components. And again, speaking of custom components, you can use the Power Apps Component Framework, PCF, to build your own components completely from the ground up using TypeScript as well. So that's a completely custom way of creating your own components. And using custom connectors, you can bring in data from third-party APIs as well. And I'm just going to jump into a quick demonstration of a Canvas app that's got a few pro-code elements. Let me just drag this across to my screen. So I've got a couple of screens here that's got a couple of different, just small examples of some of the things you can achieve with a little bit of pro-code. So what we've got here is a PCF component that just adds a glow effect around this text. Now, as you can see, nothing particularly spectacular. This is built in PCF. This is something you couldn't achieve with out-the-box Canvas app components, but you can achieve quite straightforward in PCF components. Again, similarly, another PCF component that you couldn't necessarily achieve with built-in components. This is a confetti component, and the interesting thing about this component is there's a property called spread where you can set the spread of the confetti. So not only can you build custom components to display static things, you can make your custom components dynamic and they can take in custom properties as well. And the next screen, I've got some UI effects that you can achieve using a little bit of HTML and CSS. So a little bit of glassmorphism effect here, where we've got some HTML text labels, and then we've got overlaid on top of the background, so you can still see the background, so it's creating this nice blur effect. And again, something not necessarily achievable without the box components. And down here, we've just got a nice gradient component, creating that gradient of colours as well. Again, these are just some simple UI effects that you can achieve using a little bit of HTML and CSS. Now, if we go back to my presentation, next on the list is model-driven apps. Now, with model-driven apps and pro-code, we're typically looking at JavaScript and ways that we can bring JavaScript into our model-driven apps. And there's a couple of different ways we can do that. Firstly, we've got custom command buttons. So that's where you can create a button within your model-driven app forum. When you click on that button, it'll go and execute some JavaScript code. Now that could be doing a whole variety of things that you can do in JavaScript. That could be going and talking to other third-party systems. It could be executing some logic. Kind of anything that you can do within JavaScript, you can have that kind of execute on click of a custom command button. You can also run custom logic using JavaScript on events that happen in a model-driven app. So events like on-form load, on-form save, you can write some JavaScript and that'll execute on those events. And implementing JavaScript gives a bit more flexibility when compared to business rules. So you can implement more complex logic that's perhaps not achievable using out-of-the-box business rules. And you've also got the ability to implement dynamic interactive elements. And you've also got improved performance by minimizing server-side processing. And I'll jump over to another demonstration of a model-driven app. Let me just bring my screen back across. So what we've got here is a help desk application that's a model-driven app. So we've got a list of cases here. Now, if I click into one of those cases, we should see the first example of some JavaScript code that runs on form load. We've got a notification that pops up, and that contains some details that's specific to this organization that's logged this case. So within this organization record, there's a field called customer notes that has some notes about the customer. And each time we open a case that's related to that customer, we get the technician that's dealing with the case gets a notification containing those notes. Another example of implementing JavaScript is custom command buttons. So I've got a button up here called Assign to Me. Now when I click this button, it will automatically assign the case to the currently logged in user. And another example of some custom logic within JavaScript is to show and hide some fields on a model-driven form. So if I mark that as resolved, you'll see now we get this extra section here. And again, that's all done using some custom JavaScript. So this just gives you an idea of how you can achieve certain interactive elements using JavaScript that you can't necessarily achieve with out-of-the-box business rules. And if I go back to my demonstration, the last Power Platform component I wanted to talk about is Power Pages and how we can implement ProCode in Power Pages. Now, for anyone that's not familiar with Power Pages, it essentially offers the ability to build and create fully functioning front-end web pages in a kind of Power Platform, low-code, no-code way, essentially. But the really cool thing about Power Pages is not only does it cater to low-code, no-code, it also gives you the ability to fully access the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as you would with any other front-end web development project. So with that comes the ability to incorporate custom components from libraries like Bootstrap. You can completely design your own theme, so you get full access to the CSS, so you can completely customize your own theme to suit whatever you need. And again, you can write your own custom logic in JavaScript just as you would for any other website. And like any other kind of web project, you can make calls to custom APIs. And I will bring over another quick demonstration of a Power Pages site. So what we have here is Power Pages site that I built. It's essentially a fictitious restaurant. So this is built in Power Pages, but using, as I say, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if we look at the menu tab, and we just let the menu load, what we've got here is a custom Bootstrap component. That's the accordion. So for the menu, we've got this accordion component that expands these sections when we click on it for the different menu sections. And each of these images and descriptions of each menu item is coming from a Dataverse table. So this is using the Dataverse Web API to talk to the backend Dataverse table from the Power Pages site. And these images are actually stored in an Azure blob storage account. So again, extending the site into the Azure world as well. If I look at the reservations page, I've got a custom reservations form. So this is for people to make reservations at the restaurant. And the good thing about doing a custom form is you can implement your own validation. So if I try and submit this, you'll see that there's some required fields here that need to be completed before we can submit the form. And the validation goes even further than that because I've got some validation running on the date and time. So it can't be, you can't choose a date before today effectively, so it can't be a date in the past. And the email also has to be in the format of an email address. So it's using a regex check to check that the email address is in the correct format, and similarly with a phone number. And if I quickly complete this form and submit it, let's just do that now.
And then Brian, as you're wrapping that up, just a real quick time check for you, so we still have time for Vipul.
Okay, let me just submit that form just now. And what it's doing now is it's going and, or what it should be doing is it's going and checking availability by using a Power Automate flow, and then it should pop open a notification that gives a success message if it's found essentially if it's found a spot and the reservation's been successful. It should pop open a notification. There we go, reservation successful. So again, it's a custom notification message as well. So this just gives you an idea of how you can customize each element of your Power Pages site, so you can get really deep in that the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to completely customize essentially every aspect of your site. And if I go back over to my slides, so that all seems great, but what if, like me, you're not a traditional pro code developer? Well, the good thing about 2025 is it's never been easier, I think, to sort of get hands-on with these kind of tools, and also to learn them. We've got many tools at our disposal now to help learn things like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you don't have to be an expert in all of these areas to implement a small bit here and there in your Power Platform solutions. What you do, however, still need to do is have a solid understanding of the fundamentals of software development, so things like the data types, conditional logic, operators, all that kind of thing. You still need to have a solid understanding of that. And then to build on that, we have tools today like Copilot, where you can get quite far by prompting your favorite AI agent to ask it for snippets of HTML and JavaScript and CSS. And whilst it might not always produce the finished article, generally it'll get you far enough that if you understand those fundamentals, you can, get to where you want to get to with the help of your AI agent. So it's not, if you want to implement some pro code in your Power Platform solution, it's not necessary to be from a purely software development background. As long as you understand the fundamentals, you can generally get quite far. And before I finish up, I just wanted to point you to some resources that I used to help me when I was kind of looking into implementing some pro code and Power Platform solutions. So firstly, we've got Traverse Media on YouTube. He's got some pretty good beginner guides to things like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Howding Rashid, he did a good series called Solution Sunday where he's got 3 or 4 different use cases for implementing JavaScript in a model-driven app, and you can follow it through in your own environment. And then that was one of the first things I stumbled across when I was looking at JavaScript and model-driven apps. It really opens your eyes into seeing what's possible by implementing just a small bit of JavaScript into a model-driven app. And if you want to practice your CSS, I found a nice little game that sort of gamifies learning CSS. So that was quite fun to learn your CSS. And if you want to generate some of those CSS glass morphism effects that I showed, there's a nice little link there that'll generate them for you, and that just produces a CSS that you can copy and paste into your Canvas app. And thank you for your time, and I'll pass back over to David.
Awesome, Brian. Very, very cool tips. Really a trifecta of platform and products there. So thank you. Vipul, go ahead and take on over the screen. Just a reminder, friends, if you have to drop, don't worry. We will get this recorded in full so that you can watch it all. We'll go long today for those who want to be able to stay. But Vipul, feel free, take your time. Go ahead and complete your presentation and demo. It is all yours, my friend.
Thanks a lot, David. And hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk about a non-AI topic, which is automating the folder and subfolder creation, where the list or the backend data source is SharePoint Online, and I will be leveraging Power Automate Flow to create these folders and subfolders. I know in the interest of the time, we have limited time today, but I will try to cover as much as possible and quickly as well. So I will talk about the scenario first. The scenario here is that you might have created folders and subfolders in an automated fashion in the past using Power Automate, but my scenario is something unique here, which I wanted to tell you that there are multiple lists, and based on this list criteria, different criteria of columns or the selection of the columns values, the subfolders, folders, and subfolder needs to be created. So basically, there are 3 lists which I want to talk about. One is the emission category or emission measurement. Once the user creates an item or a record in this particular list, based on some 3 prime values or unique values, which is location, legislation, and measurement category, the measurement process steps gets created in another list. And how these process steps gets created, it is based on some configuration, which is there at the backend. Now, when I say configuration is there in the backend, so there are 3 lists here. One is the emission category, another is the configuration list, based on which these process steps will be created. And this will be created again via automated flow. Once this process steps gets created in an automated fashion, the folders and subfolders gets created. So I have a document library again in the SharePoint background where I have just created static folder called measurements. Within that, the dynamic folder will get created. Now this folders and subfolders has a specific nomenclature or naming convention, which I have created just in the Power Automate flow. So for example, main folder, it should have the nomenclature, for example, ID cylinder, series, application segment name, and so on. And then the subfolders and the subfolders. So this level of nesting of subfolders, which I'm going to show you today using the Power Automate flow. So if you see in the process step configuration, the configuration list has some important columns. For example, step number, then we have a step title, then sub-step number and sub-step title. So based on these column values, these folders with the nomenclature called step_step title and the subfolder, which is sub-step_sub-step title_accountable role. So all these are the columns which are there at the backend. So this is the problem statement which I'm going to showcase today. And there are multiple SharePoint lists which are involved, as I said, to create this hierarchy or the nesting of the folder, subfolder, and subfolder. So first of all, we will start with the emission measurement list. This is the primary list where the user will create an item. And these are the 3 key columns which will be taken into consideration, which this process step configuration list will read. So based on the location, based on the category, and based on the legislation values, the process step configuration will read, and this process step configuration will decide like how the process steps needs to be created and how the folders needs to be created. So these two are the source list, I will say, or the source list where the actual decision is used to taken. And in the output, what will happen? The process steps will get created based on that decision of the columns, that is legislation, emission category, and the location. And accordingly, the folder structure, I mean the folder, subfolder, and sub-subfolder will get created. So this is the scenario which I'm going to demonstrate now. Let's see this in action. So I will directly navigate to one of the primary lists, which is the main list. So emission measurement is the one list where I'm going to create an item very quickly. So I'll just click on add new item. I'll just give a title, let's say community demo, and I will select just the primary fields which are required. So emission, let's say application genset, series 6000, 4000, just these are some master values. Location I'm selecting here as India, cylinder value, and link main folder. Certification lead, app segment is a very important field for me, so I'm just selecting it. Legislation, BSO_1, test bench, I'm just selecting some random values here. And then this is one of the important field, which is category in my case. So I'll just select all and so on. So accountable role, I'll just select one accountable role as well. Let's say certification engineer, and just I will click on save. So that is how this item has been created. If you see here, this item is created, which is community demo with the ID 8. Now what will happen? The flow will trigger at the backend, and it is going to create the process steps and the folder structure. So I'm going to navigate you to the Power Automate flow, which I created. Meanwhile, the flow is also running at the backend. So how I've implemented it, this is a normal trigger, SharePoint trigger when an item is created. Some variables I have created initially. And as I always say, when I work in Power Automate, I always work like these variables. Why? Because the workflow ID and getting the run ID and getting the environment name and then composing your flow run URL. So this is a very important information that whenever you face any issues, if you create this, your run instance within the Power Automate workflow, you will be able to troubleshoot the issue if in case any error comes. So these are some of the important variables which in my all Power Automate flows, basically I create. It has nothing to do with this demo, although just to let you know. But two important variables, some array type variables which I've created just to have concurrence that where the process steps are getting created, and I'm putting it in an array because there are multiple folders and subfolders which needs to be created. So I'm just taking two array variables here. Now directly jumping to my try block or try scope here. First, I'm setting the folder name because I will have a primary folder. So just to take you back to my PPT, as we talked in the PPT, there will be always a main folder. So with some naming convention, right? So I'm just setting that particular naming convention here. So format number, let's say formatted ID, I'm just doing here. Why I'm formatting this application segment name? Because my application segment name can have /, can have ampersand. So I'm just replacing it here. And finally, I'm just setting the folder name. I'm concatenating all these values using the wonderful Power Automate expressions. So in this just scenario, set folder name, I have just setted the folder name. Now, the beauty of this here is that now it starts creating the folder. So for that, we have a SharePoint action, create new folder. As I said, in my document library, there is a static folder measurements. I will navigate you there first of all. So if I go to my document library, I already have a measurement folder. Within it, I want to create the folders and the subfolders, right? So that's why if you see this, this is the path, folder path, which I'm giving within my SharePoint online site where I want to create the folder. Now, what happens is get relevant process steps. Now, what happens is, as I said, if I go to the PPT, it will check in the process step configuration which relevant process steps needs to be created based on three values, which is measurement category, legislation, and location. So what this Power Automate flow is doing, that it is going to get the items, relevant items, because I have a filter query here. Now, what this filter query says, the measurement category, it just check the measurement category, which is equivalent to what user has inputted in the input form, check the location, and check the legislation. Based on this, the process step values or the process step configuration will be taken from here, and accordingly in the measurement process step list, those process steps will be created, right? So that's the step here or the action here. Now I'm just going through a loop here, apply to each to create the subfolders. Now this is very important, how I'm creating the subfolders and subfolder hierarchy based on this nomenclature or the conditional logic. Now, what I'm checking here is first you create the subfolder. First, you create the folder, which is the create new folder. Now, if you see here in the measurements inside the main folder, create first the subfolder, which is this in my case, which is step_step title. So this is the first subfolder which will get created. And accordingly, the array variable will be appended that this subfolder has been created. And then it is checking for the subfolder, which is this in my case, which is the subfolder where the subtitle underscore, let's say accountable role, which is substep title underscore accountable role. So this kind of hierarchy needs to be created. And then I am also appending it within a variable, right? So that is how this particular actions will execute it based on the configuration. So this was the first list, which I showed you basically, where we created the first item, which is community demo. This is the process step configuration list where all the process steps are configured, let's say by the business user or the admin in advance. And based on this, in this measurement process step, if I just refresh it, so based on my ID, if you see, we created this ID 8, the community demo. And based on this, you see the process steps, the measurement process steps are created. So if I just filter it based on the ID only, which we created, and then you see, it has just created, if I just scroll down, for example, 15 items are created. Now, since 15 items are created, so we have reached till here. So measurement process steps are created. And accordingly, now the folder also needs to be created. So let's go into the document library. So I just refresh the document library. And I see here that this particular subfolder is created. It means our workflow has executed very well. The workflow has been executed completely. Maybe I can check the run history as well, just to showcase you that how the workflow has been executed. So you see here, just now 4 minutes ago, the status is succeeded and all the folders and subfolders are created, right? So if I go to this documents, this is the primary folder, main folder, as I showed you, with the nomenclature, ID, cylinder number, series, and application segment name. So you see here, ID, this is my basically the cylinder, the series is 4000, and A60 is the application segment name. So we'll go inside this, we'll see the subfolders. Now, the beauty here is all the subfolders are created. And since we created the process steps as 15 items, I showed you the 15 items got created, which means inside each subfolder, there will be some particular folder and the count will be total 15. So if I go inside each of the subfolder, for example, somewhere one subfolder gets created, somewhere 3. The idea here is that the number of process steps which are there, which I showed you, is total 15. So ideally, the total 15 subfolder needs to be created within this based on the custom logic. So that's all in this video. I just wanted to showcase that how means dynamically you can create the folder and subfolder hierarchy. Over to you, David.
Awesome, Vipul. Really, really cool stuff. And thank you for getting through that with acceleration, but covering everything as you needed to very well. Really, really good job. And again, we'll make sure we share out all those links to his video as well as all the other presenters' videos and/or links as well. So thank you to Bhushan and Shrushti and Brian and Vipul. Excellent job today. We really appreciate you all sharing with the community your passion. Shane, any final gifts of gratitude before we move into the resources?
Yeah, no, thank you all for presenting, and once again, everyone, like you see, right, we've got new people talking about new stuff about different technology, different pieces. Like it's great, right? Like we want more of this. We want more of you to join us. Raise your hand, say, yeah, I'll try this whole presenting thing as well, right? We're here to support you. We will make your life easy, but there's a lot of great stuff to be shared. So thank you, all of you, for taking the time to share with us today.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane. All right. What are some resources? Well, there are additional community calls. We've got our Microsoft Tuesday and Microsoft 365 and Power Platform weekly call on Tuesday. This is Microsoft speakers. It is on break, or community demos, I should say, takeover until the end of August. So we got one more community takeover call next week. We've got our monthly Power Platform call, which you're in right now. You are here. You've got Office add-ins. And then we got our bi-weekly calls, which are going to have a little bit of a rename, everybody, to make them a little more simple. So be on the lookout for that soon. Excited to roll that out to everyone, just to kind of simplify the messaging for our Thursday call. Still going to be every week, but we'll simplify the messaging for that. Coming soon. You can get all the recurrent invites at aka.ms/community/calls. And speaking of that next Tuesday call, we've got our 2 showcased hackathon, SharePoint hackathon demos by Tobias, Nish, Guido, and Emmanuel on Copilot Learning Center. And then Elaine will be back or beyond talking about AI-driven archiving of SharePoint sites. That was from Powerful Devs Hackathon. So we've got a duplicate, a double bonus of hackathon stuff to look forward to next week. So we look forward to that. We've also got our Discord server that you can be part of. So don't hesitate to join there. You can be with the cool kids in Discord. It's a great one-stop shop to be able to cover multiple areas of the community all in one place and chat and collaborate. We also would love to get some feedback from you, so don't hesitate to let us know if things are working, if they're not working, some suggestions. Please just keep it positive and encouraging, but do let us know, even if it's a good news and you like us. We'd love to hear that too. It's always nice to tell somebody that they're doing good. The recording will be available in 24 hours or less on the Microsoft Community. We're all talking good today. Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. You can get and subscribe to that at aka.ms/community/YouTube. We're also on LinkedIn, Blue Sky. It is contagious today, Shane. My goodness. Twitter. The next call.
You're having a rough one, buddy. You're having a rough one.
It is, man. I just cannot get the mouth going. September 17th. We will see you on the next call. Don't forget about all those other calls. Get those invites on your calendar. Thank you all for being amazing. Keep up the great work. Let us know if you want to present and demo. We would love to work with you. aka.ms/Power Platform Community Call. Have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your weekend once you get there, and a wonderful rest of the month. We'll see you in September and the fall. Bye-bye.
Bye.